Good morning. I am back out on my porch today. It just wasn't quite the same inside, although it's warmer today, so that makes it easier. And what you can't see easily is, let me see if I can turn it. Okay, is I am sitting right beside a heater. I don't know if you can see up. No, that's not going to work. I have no idea. I can't get that on the camera, but there's a overhead heater that Chad surprised me with last year that I absolutely love. And today I'm having to get some tea out because hmm, it's a little bit kind of a different day for me. Like many of you, the weather is playing havoc with my um, sinuses, so I thought that would be good. But I need you to know if you are thinking about buying a house or you're in the process of buying a house or selling a house, I hope you'll really tune in. But really, if you're my friend, I need you to just pull up a chair with me so I can vent a little bit and maybe you can offer some perspective from somebody not in the midst of the process. So I think you might could help a friend out today. So what I want to talk about is I'm kind of frustrated with something that we've been seeing going on some here lately, and it has to do with home inspections. So I want to kind of back up on the process a little bit and kind of explain what happens from my perspective whenever I first come in to your home and meet with you. So, like the very first thing is I do all my market research before I ever come to your house. I've pulled the comps for the subdivision. I have pulled the comps based on the elementary school. I've looked at what's under contract, what's sold in the last 90 days, 160 days, and sometimes 365 just to figure out where the trend is, exactly where your house is. Now, what that does is that gives me a broad picture of pricing for your house. It doesn't tell me what your house looks like when I get there. So, whenever I get there, then what I have to do is evaluate the condition of your house. Are you at the top end where everything's perfect? Are you at the middle, or are you at the bottom where you've got a lot of repairs? So then, in that process, we come up with a list price. So what I'm taking into account is the market and what I see with my own eyes. So let me just kind of tell you a couple things that makes your price of your house different. Let's say your carpet in your living room needs to be is buckled up a little bit because you got four kids, two dogs, and a cat, and it's just worn, so we might talk about having it stretched because a lot of times that will fix a lot of the problems. And then sometimes you're like, hey, we just don't want to do it, we want to price it like it is, so we can do that too. So when we do that, the agent, me, has factored in the condition that I can see. I've asked you how old the heating area is, how old the roof is. I've factored those in. And then the overall flow of your house, because there's just certain floor plans that are currently more popular than others. No stairs are always really popular with people, different things like that. So what we're seeing right now and where my frustration is we're getting home inspection reports on houses that are like 15 years old where they are sending the entire home inspection report, all 40 pages. Home inspection reports are not 1 or 2 pages long because remember, the home inspector's job is to find everything he can find wrong with that house. So he's going to check everything he can visually see. He's going to run tests on things. He's going to go in the crawl space. I'm never going to crawl in your crawl space on a listing. I don't want to see your crawl space unless I have to. He's going to go up in the attic. A lot of times they go on the roof. He does a very thorough job of telling you everything that's wrong with the house. We work with some great home inspectors. We're very thankful for them. But as your agent, whenever I get a report where the buyer, I got to take a sip here, um, mm, where the buyer is asking for everything in that house to be fixed, it's unrealistic because a lot of those things they should have saw when they walked through the house before they made an offer and been okay with it or not. Recently, we had an example where they came back and asked for everything. And I told the agent, I called the other agent and said, you know, we can't fix all these things. The house is 20 years old. For heaven's sakes, if we did everything in this report, the price would be different. And it's just not realistic. And she said, well, that's what they want. So obviously it didn't work out because we just couldn't do everything they want. So, what is the purpose of a home inspection? That's kind of what I wanted to talk to um, you who might be in the process of buying a house. Is what is a home inspection for? So, a home inspection primarily is, in my opinion, to tell you what's wrong with the house that you would not be able to figure out on your own. So that means that's why they're looking in the crawl space, why they're looking in the attic, why they are checking the breaker panels, why they're testing all the plug-ins, all those kind of things. They run the dishwasher, they check the stove, all those things that when you walk through that house you would not necessarily know or be able to see with your vision, with your eyes. So like wood rot, things like that, broken glass. If we fogged windows, seals that break on windows. I mean, the list of stuff they give you on a house is huge. So, how do you decide what items are worthy to be asked for and are not? Now, you can ask for them to do anything you want to out of that home inspection. Whatever you want to ask, you perfectly have the right to ask. But if you want to get the house, we have to come back down to what we call reasonable, where you have a reasonable chance of getting the homeowner to do the repairs that you've requested and you actually get to buy the house. So, what are some things that, yes, homeowners 9 times out of 10 will take care of? Leaks. I mean, if the home inspector finds a leak in the crawl space, the bathroom, kitchen, anywhere, the homeowner 9 times out of 10 they're going to take care of that without you even asking because nobody wants to live in a house that's leaking. Um, those usually get taken care of really quickly. If they find something, sometimes up in the attic, they'll find evidence of squirrels or all kinds of things, but those are usually taken care of really quickly. Where we seem to struggle a lot is where it's stuff that isn't make or break to the house being a good house. But sometimes it's preference. Like you'll you walk through. I'm thinking of a house in particular that we have listed where the paint colors are just the they're just off a little bit where they have kids and stuff and they've gotten some crayons and stuff on there. Now ideally it would be great if the people painted it, but sometimes you can't do that when you're selling. So while the home inspection may list that, especially if you've ever been like me, had kids who slam the doors and put those, not holes necessarily, but those dents in, those kind of things. So what you want to do is look at that home inspection and make a realistic judge of, am I okay with what the home inspector found? Or is this a make it or break it? But sending that whole report and asking them to do the whole thing, I mean, my goodness, we call that new construction where I'm from. That's not really what the purpose, in my opinion, is of a home inspection. It's to make sure you know exactly what's wrong with that house and at the same time be okay with it. It's a great checklist of things that you may want to check off. And most of them list like if it's just a maintenance issue, is it a safety issue, those kind of things. But okay, so my friends that have hung out with me to get me to this point, you've made me feel better kind of getting it off my chest because it has been frustrating here lately. And I want to tell y'all about this tea. I'm not too good. There we go. We can see it. So I order mine from Amazon, but this is the best tea that I've ever had. There's Lisa and Janet. Janet, I know you know what I'm talking about on her home inspection, and Lisa, you will soon. But it just, we want to be realistic. We want to get you the best house we can, but you kind of want to go into the process thinking reasonably. It's kind of I've got a doctor appointment coming up, and if I wanted him to somehow get me back to like I was when I was 20, well, I'm 45, so it's just not gonna happen. But anyway, y'all have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.